So this is falls recovery from the floor using a passive hoist. There are two types of hoisting systems. There is a mobile hoist and an overhead hoist. With the overhead hoist, there is a lot less risk associated with transfers from the floor with this design of hoisting system. There's less framework to be negotiated or taken into account when looking at your risk assessment. So there's less chance of your person on the floor coming into contact with the hoist while being transferred up. Whereas with the mobile hoist, as you can see, there's a lot more metal work, a lot more framework to be considered when introducing this to a person on the floor. Also, I'm just going to demonstrate with this design of mobile hoist, the carrier bar comes closer to the mast as it is lowered to the floor. This affects your lifting point and how the mobile hoist should be introduced and positioned above your person on the floor. So I'm just going to take it down. So as you can see, the carrier bar is coming down. It's coming closer into the mast. And as it comes to its lowest point, it is a lot closer into all the metalwork of the hoist. So that is something to be taken into consideration when carrying out your on-the-spot risk assessment of how you will assist a person from the floor. And that is the difference between a mobile hoist and a ceiling track overhead hoist. So now we're going to look at hoisting a person from the floor with a mobile hoist, a full-bodied sling and two flat slide sheets. I'm going to be demonstrating bringing the hoisting from the head end of the person. So initially we're going to be looking to fit the sling and the slide sheets. So we're using slide sheets to create a barrier between the person and the static surface. The low friction material will reduce shear and friction against the surface used against the person's body while they're being lifted up off the floor. Okay, so I'm going to begin by fitting the slide sheet. Okay, so I'm just going to bring the person into a sideline position. I've then folded the slide sheet, the flat slide sheet up. I'm just going to place this underneath the bottom, and then I'm going to introduce the full body sling. So we use a full bodied sling because it provides support throughout the body when the person's been lifted up. So I'm just going to fit this underneath. I'm going to tuck it under the person's body and then bring them back onto it. And then we might have to do a slight roll to this side just to bring the material through of the sling and the slide sheet. And just straighten it out. I'm then going to introduce the second slide sheet. This one's going to be positioned underneath the person's heels. Again, just creating that barrier between them and the static surface. There you go. Double check my sling, make sure that it's fitted evenly, and then I can start to join the leg loops, the leg pieces together. So this is a divided leg sling. Once that's done, and I'm going to look to introduce the mobile hoist. So like I said, this is going to be done from the head end. So I'm going to begin by opening up the legs to the widest position. I'm going to come in at an angle. What I'm just going to have to do also is just tuck the slide sheet and the sling in just so they don't get trapped on the wheels or cause any disruption. There we go. And then I can bring the hoist in. The pillow that is behind the person's head is just providing some protection and comfort as well, but the protection from the metal framework of the mobile hoist. I can then look to start attaching the sling to the hoist. Make sure that the carry bar is at its lowest position. Bring it a bit closer. And then I'm just going to attach that one on. Come round and do this one. And then I'm going to attach the leg pieces, the leg loops. So once we're attached, I'm just going to do another visual check, make sure that as we start to lift up, the sling's hooked on safely, slide sheets are in a good position, and the pillows providing support against the framework. So I'm going to start to bring a person up. As you'll start to see the slide sheets coming into effect now, just creating that barrier. There we go. And then once the person is at a good height, I can then transfer them into either seating or back onto bed. So we're now going to look at hoisting a person from the floor, mobile hoist, a full body sling. I'm now going to demonstrate bringing the hoisting from the foot end of the person. Okay, so as you can see, my slide sheet and my sling are already fitted underneath the person on the floor. I'm going to begin by creating some access for one of the hoist legs to pass through, so I can bring the hoisting close enough over the person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them if they can either lift. I'm going to support the knees up. This then creates access underneath for one of the hoist legs to pass through. I can then begin bringing the mobile hoist in. So the legs be splayed out, and this is going to pass through. As I'm doing this, I'm being very careful of the metal work not causing any injury to the person while I bring this in. I'm going to bring it in as close as I can. Okay. So now I'm going to attach the sling onto the carry bar. I'm going to begin with the leg loops. They're going to be in. It's also worth ensuring that your carry bar is as low down as possible. After I've fitted the lower part of the sling, I'm then going to fit the shoulder loops. So if I was to try and fit the shoulder loops as they are now, I'd be dragging and pulling the service user up to fit these. So I need to bring them closer to the carry bar. So I'm going to come in behind. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put two flat hands underneath the person's shoulders, there. And then I'm just going to gradually start to walk in a little bit closer. There we go. And that's just made it so that I can attach these shoulder loops onto the carry bar. Once they're on, I'm just going to do another check, make sure that all the straps are attached securely. I then position my handset in a location where I could easily reach from this position. And I'm going to begin to raise the person up. So what you're going to see is the slide sheet come into use now. Once the sling has taken hold of the person, is now supporting them, it means that I can move out from behind them because the sling is supporting behind. I'm coming at the side. I'm just going to bring them a little bit further up. And then as it starts to lift, I'm going to place another slide sheet just underneath the person's heels. And I'm just going to bring them away from the metalwork of the hoist. Okay, and then I can continue with the lift. And there we go. Once they're up high enough, I can then complete the transfer either into a chair or back onto bed.